effect for. So I want to zoom in to far northwest Lauderdale County, Waterloo, up in far northwest Lauderdale County, and that's what we're going to be talking about here over the next couple of minutes. The other red shaded area here, that's going to be a tornado watch that's in effect for northeast Mississippi. So we're talking about the storm here. This is High Point, Mississippi. This is Crossroads, Mississippi. We're over in northeast Mississippi. This activity is pulling to the northeast, so it's only going to touch just a small portion of northwest Lauderdale County. If you are in Waterloo, I want you to get into your tornado safe place. Now, if you know anybody in Walnut Grove, now this is up in southern Middle Tennessee. Here's the Alabama-Tennessee state line. If you're up in southern Middle Tennessee, or if you know anybody up in southern Middle Tennessee, they need to be getting into their tornado safe place, especially up in Walnut Grove. They are going to be included here in the tornado warning. And again, if you're in Waterloo in northwest Lauderdale County, you want to be in your tornado safe place. Now, this is such a small tornado warning, and I kind of want to emphasize just how small this tornado warning is. If you're in Gravely Springs, if you're in Dart, again, other locations in far northwest Lauderdale County, you're not actually included in the tornado warning. If you're in Gravely Springs, if you're in Dart, to be quite honest, it's probably not even going to rain there. So what's happening is this specific thunderstorm here is moving to the northwest, and it's only going to clip this really small portion of northwest Lauderdale County. Let's look at a couple of our different radar products here. I just want to see if we can see anything noticeable. We're of course going to use our Columbus, Mississippi radar. As a matter of fact, that might, there we go. So if you know anybody over in northeast Mississippi, High Point, down into Crossroads, they're going to want to be in their tornado safe place. Carey Hollow, definitely going to want to be in their tornado safe place. If you're in Waterloo, I want you to be in your tornado safe place. Again, we are just talking about a very small portion of northwestern Lauderdale County. So we're going to continue to watch this for just the next couple of minutes. The rotation really not looking all that impressive there. I can continue to look at another product, and again, the rotation really not all that impressive. Now, I can understand why the tornado warning was issued. For one, we are talking about an area of increased wind shear there, Carey Hollow down into High Point, where you can kind of see some of the brighter greens. So we are talking about an area of increased wind shear. But I can understand why the tornado warning was issued, right? So we're talking about an incredibly unstable air mass across northwest Alabama. As a matter of fact, across the entire Tennessee Valley, we're talking about a relatively unstable air mass. But much of this activity was supposed to stay to the northwest, and it is staying to the northwest. But we're just talking about this one lone storm that's going to track up through northwest Alabama over the next couple of minutes. And again, this storm really not looking all that impressive. Now, I was looking earlier, and it does have a lot of lightning associated with it, even talking about a little bit of lightning out ahead of this storm in far northwestern Lauderdale County. So we are talking about a very powerful thunderstorm. And again, a storm moving to the northeast. It looks like it's probably going to bypass much of Lauderdale County. Just got an update from the National Weather Service office here in Huntsville, so I'm going to check that. Just real quick, we're going to maintain the tornado warning for Lauderdale County. That is going to run until 5:30. So it looks like we're going to maintain the tornado warning. That tornado warning going to run until 5:30. So we'll stick with you until at least 5:30, and then of course FOX54 News at 5:30 is going to begin. So that tornado warning is officially out, as confirmed. So we do have confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground, which is why you see the flashing purple box there. So this is no longer a radar indicated tornado. What we have is a confirmed tornado. So again, if you're in Waterloo, I want you to be in your tornado safe place. If you're in Dart, Dart is now included in the tornado warning. So what has happened is we've taken the tornado warning, kind of expired the old tornado warning, taken the new tornado warning and expanded it just a little bit to the east. And again, this is going to be a confirmed tornado warning, which means a tornado has been confirmed and on the ground at some point over in northeast Mississippi. The radar just updated, and again, it looks like this storm kind of moving more to the northeast as opposed to moving a little more to the east. If you're in Waterloo, I want you to be in your tornado safe place. Now, if you're in Dart, I want you to be in your tornado safe place. Gravely Springs, again, still not technically included within the tornado warning, and it looks like this activity is probably going to slide to the northeast. I want to find out just how fast this entire system is moving. I want to find out if it's moving to the east, northeast. So it looks like we're moving to the east at about 55 miles per hour. But I noticed as the radar was updating over the last couple of minutes that it also had kind of a northerly component to it. But moving to the east at about 55 miles per hour. So I want to look at our radar products once again. And it looks like we're going to be focused on this area here. Allow me to just zoom in for a second. So it looks like we're going to be talking about this right here, right around Cary Hollow. So look at this. I'm going to go ahead and circle this. This is some really impressive rotation here, just beginning to move into northern Lauderdale County. And this is far northwest Lauderdale County. So here's Mississippi, here's Tennessee, and then here's the state of Alabama. So we're looking at some really impressive rotation there. Let's look at this on our shear rate and see if we can see an area and increased wind shear. So the wind shear really not all that impressive with this storm. But it does look like the velocity image is one that would indicate a little bit, some significant rotation, as a matter of fact. And again, this is going to be to the north of Waterloo. Kind of looks like we're running the Alabama-Tennessee state line here as this main area of interest is going to push itself to the east-northeast at about 55 miles per hour. And that radar scan just updated in that rotation just weakened. But here's the other item of note here. You can kind of see your correlation coefficient, and it lines up with the circle. And I'll go ahead and redraw the circle here for you. So most of the correlation coefficient product definitely going to be kind of this red shaded area, but then we're getting into this yellow shaded area indicating a little bit of blue there. So that's where we're talking about higher correlation coefficient values. And essentially what this is telling us is that the radar beam is picking up on things other than what the radar beam should be picking up on. So we're talking about other objects, whether that be trees, whether that be parts to buildings or anything like that. Really, when you get these higher correlation coefficient values, when you're getting into the yellows, when you're getting into the blues, that is the radar beam picking up on things that it should not normally be picking up on. Again, like other objects or different trees or things like that. That is what is being picked up here based on the correlation coefficient product. So I'm going to go ahead and circle this, and then I kind of want to see just how closely it lines up with our velocity image. So we're going to go ahead and circle this here. This is going to be what we're focused on, and I can try and zoom in here as best I can. There's really just not a whole lot going on over in far northwest Alabama. And I can maybe give you a couple of road names. We're to the north of Parker Landing at this point. So Murphy Crossroads back off to the east. You're probably going to want to be in your tornado safe place if you know anybody there or if you yourself are there. But this is the area that we're going to be focused on, this area where we're talking about that higher correlation coefficient. Again, this is a confirmed tornado. So we have confirmed reports that a tornado has been physically seen on the ground. So something we're going to continue to pay attention to, obviously, very closely over the next couple of minutes. Now, while it does look like the rotation has broadened up a little bit, you can kind of see some of the gray intermingling itself within the red and the green. We're still talking about some significant rotation. As a matter of fact, the radar scan just updated, and it looks like that rotation kind of tightened up a little bit. Again, it looks like we're sitting just to the north of Parker Landing, and again, here is the Alabama-Tennessee state line. So we are in about as far northwest Alabama as you can get. Talking about some really intense velocity signatures here. Let's go back to the correlation coefficient product. And again, talking about something that might indicate that a tornado is physically on the ground. And kind of see the correlation coefficient kind of increases a little bit more once you get up into Walnut Grove. Walnut Grove is going to be included within this tornado warning, but it's the velocity image still seems to be closely lining up with the area of increased wind shear. Wind shear is a change in wind speed and wind direction as you go up in altitude. So the fact that those two are lining up means we're talking about a potentially very dangerous situation. And again, we're talking about a confirmed tornado on the ground. Just reading a report from the National Weather Service office here in Huntsville. So yeah, continuing to talk about a confirmed tornado on the ground. And again, we're talking about the area of increased wind shear, and that directly lines up with our area of really strong, really tight rotation. There's a little bit of gray thrown in there, indicating that maybe the rotation's beginning to broaden up just a little bit, but this rotation is still quite impressive across far northwest Alabama. We are incredibly far into northwest Lauderdale County. There's definitely a lot of lightning associated with this storm. Lightning is another sign that you're talking about a strengthening, or at the very least, an incredibly strong system. So something we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next couple of minutes. Again, a tornado warning is in effect for northern Lauderdale County, and this is going to run until 5:30 this evening. So I want to zoom things out, and I want to look at the Tennessee Valley as a whole. I kind of want to give you an idea of what it is exactly we're talking about. The rest of us are dry. Maybe a couple of rogue isolated showers here developing across northwest Alabama, Colbert, down into Franklin County, but the vast majority of our activity is going to be here back off to the northwest. And then the area that we're going to be focused on is this area in far northwest Alabama. We're talking about the northwesternmost corner of Lauderdale County. If you're in Florence, you are not included in the tornado warning. If you're in Leeton, again, not included in the tornado warning. So I really want to emphasize that we're talking about an area that is in far northwestern Lauderdale County. So let's go ahead and again zoom in on this area in northwest Alabama, far northwest Alabama. Kind of went a bit too far over into northeast Mississippi, but that's okay. We can kind of fix that. So let's zoom over here. And the report is that this storm is moving to the east-northeast at about 55 miles per hour. I think it's moving to the north a little more than it's moving to the east. Let's look at our velocity signature here and see what we've got. So we're still talking about that area. And I'll go ahead and circle it here. This rotation is really quite impressive, hanging out here right on the Alabama-Tennessee state line. And as a matter of fact, that area of rotation may have just gone ahead and moved up into southern Middle Tennessee and kind of pulled it out of northwest Alabama. As a matter of fact, I don't even see the flashing box anymore. I'm kind of wondering if they've gone ahead and canceled it, and they have. The warning has been canceled. The storm has moved out of the area. So the tornado warning no longer in effect for northern Lauderdale County. So what has happened is that the storm kind of really began to move to the northeast as opposed to moving to the east. And so what's happened is the storm has since pushed its way into southern Middle Tennessee. So again, it looks like the threat for far northwest Alabama has come to an end. Still something I want to watch rather closely. We'll zoom things out, and I'll switch it back over to the radar so we don't have to look at the velocity image the whole time. So let's zoom things back out and look at the Tennessee Valley as a whole. So the tornado warning is no longer in effect for far northwest Alabama. We had a tornado warning in effect for Lauderdale County. We no longer have the tornado warning in effect for Lauderdale County. We do still have a tornado warning, and I would anticipate that they're probably going to drop this here within the next couple of minutes. So there is still a tornado warning just to the west of Lauderdale County. So here's the state of Mississippi, here's the state of Alabama. There is still, and as a matter of fact, they just transitioned it into a severe thunderstorm warning. So what we now see is that the threat for severe weather has moved out of the Tennessee Valley. And we kind of talked about this, and we're going to talk about it a little more coming up on FOX54 News at 5:30. We kind of talked about how we've been dealing with that front for the last couple of days, right? That front that's been back off to the northwest, well off to the northwest. And only small opportunities for showers and thunderstorms were going to exist across the Tennessee Valley. Only small opportunities for showers and thunderstorms were going to exist even across northwest Alabama. So we're going to continue to watch these storms. This storm here does have a severe thunderstorm warning associated with it. But if we head back a little bit further into northeast Mississippi, back into Corinth, it doesn't really look like we're talking about any sort of severe weather. Then if you head back into Kossuth, Mississippi, again, we're talking about some stronger thunderstorms, but we're certainly not talking about any severe weather. All of this activity generally moving to the northeast. This activity moving somewhat quickly at about 50 or 55 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to text my producer real quick. I'll get to her in a second. So, line of showers and thunderstorms just clipping northwest Alabama. This activity moving to the east-northeast at about 55 miles per hour. Again, there's no longer a tornado warning in effect for northwest Alabama, but we are talking about some stronger thunderstorms just to the north of the Tennessee Valley. So we're going to continue to watch these for the next several minutes and see what happens. But for the time being, the threat for severe weather, for the most part, has come to an end across the Tennessee Valley. But I still want to continue to watch these. We're still talking about that chance for some stronger thunderstorms. It still looks like we're talking about some shower and thunderstorm activity across far northwest Alabama. And again, I want to pay attention to this activity here back across northeast Mississippi. So we're talking about an incredibly unstable environment. So think about it. Our temperatures climbed into the mid-80s this afternoon. So we're talking about an incredibly unstable air mass across the Tennessee Valley. So when these storms do move into northwest Alabama, and there is a small chance that we could get a couple of more to move into northwest Alabama over the next couple of hours, some of these storms could begin to ramp up as they move into that environment that is a little more conducive for the threat of severe weather. But what's working in our favor is the fact that a lot of this activity is moving to the east-northeast. So while we may clip small portions of northwest Alabama like we've just seen, most of this activity is going to stay across northeast Mississippi and then move up into southern middle Tennessee. And then we could get some other areas of shower and thunderstorm activity to develop again, talking about a couple of random thunderstorms back across other portions of northwest Alabama. Florence down into the Shoals might be talking about a little bit of light rain. Down into Franklin County, we're talking about a thunderstorm that has developed there. Even south of Franklin County down into Hackleburg, talking about a stronger thunderstorm. But that's not severe. We're not talking about any severe weather there. And most of this activity, like I said, is going to stay out of the Tennessee Valley. And we're going to talk about this here in about 15 minutes on Fox 54 News at 5:30. We're going to continue to talk about, and I'll show you a radar where you'll be able to see that stationary boundary that's back off to the northwest that's keeping a lot of this activity out of our neck of the woods. So if we zoom things out, and the radar product's not going to be the greatest, you can see a lot of this activity back into Arkansas, back into Memphis. And a lot of this activity is moving then up into Columbia, Tennessee, heading up into Nashville. Several severe thunderstorm warnings there. Doesn't look like there's any tornado warnings. As a matter of fact, that tornado warning just to the north kind of looks like they might have transitioned that into a severe thunderstorm warning. So definitely some good news there. But you can kind of see how this line of showers and thunderstorms is moving. Look at this. So I want you to pay attention to this red shaded area. So this is a really large tornado watch, and it doesn't actually include any portion of North Alabama or southern Middle Tennessee. It doesn't even include any portion of northwest Alabama. Now, if you remember, late last night, early this morning, we did have that tornado watch that was issued specifically for Lauderdale and Colbert counties. But then there was nothing issued after that. We didn't have any severe weather move into the Tennessee Valley late last night, early this morning, and eventually that tornado watch was allowed to be expired early. And so 99% of this activity is going to stay back off to the north, back off to the northwest. There is a small chance that a couple of these storms are going to begin to fire up across far northwest Alabama. But really, if you're east of the I-65 corridor, you haven't seen any rain over the last couple of days. And frankly, over the next couple of days, you're probably going to end up staying dry. So back across northwest Alabama, talking about a couple of other showers that are developing across Florence and then down into Franklin County. We're talking about a couple of showers south down into Hackleburg. Looks like we're talking about a little bit of rain in Coleman County. None of this activity is severe. We're not talking about much in the way of any sort of thunderstorm activity. We're just talking about some stronger thunderstorms on this Thursday afternoon. So activity that we're going to continue to watch over the next few minutes. Of course, we'll continue to watch this activity as we head into the evening. But the overall threat for any sort of severe weather is actually going to remain rather low across the Tennessee Valley. And I want to place a little bit of emphasis on that. And it's very similar to what we saw yesterday, where that threat for severe weather is going to be incredibly low, but not zero. And if any severe thunderstorms actually manage to move into northwest Alabama, it's only going to be a small portion of northwest Alabama just because of how these storms are oriented. So they're back off to the northwest, and then because of a stationary boundary, a lot of this activity doesn't have much of any sort of ability to really begin to push to the east. So what's happening with this line of showers and thunderstorms is this activity is beginning to push to the northeast. And some of it ends up getting just close enough that it moves into Lauderdale and Colbert County. But for the most part, all of this activity back off to the northwest, moving in a northeasterly direction, and that is keeping it out of North Alabama, out of Lauderdale County, out of Colbert County, out of Franklin County. And then again, if you're east of the I-65 corridor, really you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about because you haven't seen any rain over the last couple of days, and you're probably going to end up staying dry for the next couple of days. So what we're looking at back across northeast Mississippi are some rather robust showers and thunderstorms. Now we do have the tornado watch in effect for our friends over in northeast Mississippi, but there are no tornado warnings in effect for northeast Mississippi. Just some stronger thunderstorms here, a little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning. I have a feeling these storms have a history of producing a little bit of hail, and in fact they do. But all of this activity in general is moving to the northeast, which is going to do some good for us because it's going to keep a lot of this activity out of far northwest Alabama. So I want to continue to pay attention to this for just a couple of more minutes. I'll stick with you at least until Fox 54 News at 5:30 begins, and we'll continue to watch this line of showers and thunderstorms. Now, this is a very local radar, so I can't zoom out all the way and show you what's happening on the regional scale, but there is a boundary back off to the northwest. There's a stationary boundary back off to the northwest, and we've been talking about it really since the beginning of the week. And what happened with that boundary is at one point, we kind of thought that boundary was going to move through the Tennessee Valley, bringing multiple rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms, some of which strong or severe, to the Tennessee Valley. But then that boundary kind of stalled back off to the northwest. And when it stalled, it prevented a lot of this activity from moving into the Tennessee Valley. We didn't really see any activity yesterday move into the Tennessee Valley. Now we had a couple of thunderstorms move into our neck of the woods. But other than that, we really didn't talk about much in the way of any sort of severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. And that's, of course, some good news. Now, they were talking about some incredibly powerful storms back across northeast Mississippi, back into Arkansas. They were talking about some very powerful storms up across southern Middle Tennessee yesterday afternoon. I know they had a couple of large tornadoes that were confirmed on the ground. That's activity that we didn't see across the Tennessee Valley, and that's activity we're going to continue to not see across the Tennessee Valley, because what ends up happening, despite our incredibly unstable atmosphere, and maybe that's because our temperatures have been in the mid-80s. I think the Shoals saw a high temperature of 86 or 87 degrees this afternoon. Despite our incredibly unstable atmosphere, there's really no way for these storms to push into northwest Alabama. Now, they might clip a small portion of northwest Alabama, like we just saw over the last couple of minutes, but for the most part, a lot of this activity is going to stay back off to the northeast. So, the overall threat for severe weather across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, specifically across northwest Alabama, is going to be incredibly low. Now, is it going to be zero? No, but it is going to be incredibly low. The threat for any strong and severe thunderstorms east of the I-65 corridor. Now, for the next couple of days, that threat is 100% going to be zero, because this activity is not going to be able to move that far into the Tennessee Valley. When it is moving into the Tennessee Valley, it's only moving into a small portion of Lauderdale and Colbert County. A lot of this activity associated with this line of showers and thunderstorms, we can kind of forget that for just a second. That activity just to the south of Russellville, that's kind of independent of this. This activity is not capable of moving much further than northern Lauderdale and northern Colbert County. And when it is moving into Lauderdale or Colbert County, it's not going to stick around very long. A lot of this activity is very quickly going to begin to move to the northeast. Still, this is something worth paying attention to over the next couple of days, right? We're talking about some stronger thunderstorms up across southern Middle Tennessee. Again, if you know anybody in Laredo, Lawrenceburg, probably going to be talking about some stronger thunderstorms here in the next couple of minutes. But even this activity here is really beginning to move to the east-northeast. And this activity has been moving somewhat quickly at about 50 or 55 miles per hour. So this stuff is moving rather fast. It does look like that there is still a tornado warning associated with this, but it looks like the main part of this storm here up across southern Middle Tennessee not going to be sticking around much longer, and I would anticipate that either they're going to, and this would be the National Weather Service up in Nashville, I believe, either they're going to continue this tornado warning to include locations a little further to the northeast, or they're going to allow this tornado warning to expire. So back across northwest Alabama, a couple of isolated rain showers. If you look back into Florence, look at that. We're just talking about a little bit of light rain right around Killen, just to the south of Blackburn, maybe just talking about a little bit of light rain. That's really all we're looking at there across northwest Alabama. Head down into Colbert County. We are nice and dry. Now, we are talking about this stronger thunderstorm here, Russellville down into Field Campbell. This is definitely a stronger thunderstorm, but it's certainly not coming with a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. So we're not talking about any severe weather here. We can go ahead and throw the lightning tracker on this. And it doesn't even look like this storm is producing any lightning, or we would see the amount of lightning there beginning to pick up. In this storm here, Phil Campbell back into Russellville, doesn't even really look like it's producing any hail. So it looks like what we're getting here in Franklin County, Russellville down to Phil Campbell, back into Vina, just to the east of Red Bay. What we're looking at here is it just looks like we're talking about a storm that is producing some very heavy rain, maybe a little bit of thunder, but even that I would imagine is hard to come by, since again, we have the lightning tracker on, but there's really no lightning associated with this storm. So maybe a thunderstorm, maybe we're just talking about some incredibly heavy rain, Russellville down into Phil Campbell, and then of course, like I was mentioning just a couple of seconds ago, back into Vina. So just talking about a heavy rainmaker there. And then radar trying to pick up on a little bit of light rain south of Falkville, heading down into Coleman County. Coleman, Good Hope, might be talking about a little bit of light rain, but otherwise, we're nice and quiet across the Tennessee Valley. Again, locations east of the I-65 corridor, picking up on absolutely no activity. So we can go back over here to northeast Mississippi, look at this area heading up into northwest Alabama. So we're going to continue to watch these. Update from the National Weather Service, kind of just confirming what I just said here, is that this activity, we're not talking about any severe weather with this thunderstorm moving through Russellville, but as time goes on, it could end up producing a little bit of lightning. We'll throw the hail swath on once again. I don't believe this storm had a history. No, it didn't have a history of producing any hail, or we would see it light up with this pinkish purplish color, and that's not something we see. So for the most part, Russellville, just talking about some pockets of very heavy rain, maybe a little bit of thunder, even the lightning is going to be somewhat difficult to come by. So just a thunderstorm down there in Franklin County, but a thunderstorm we're going to continue to watch nonetheless, just to see if it strengthens here over the next half hour or 45 minutes. We're getting ready to transition into Fox 54 News at 5:30, so obviously that's something I'm going to continue to watch and going to continue to pay attention to. Still some stronger thunderstorms here. This is Ripley, Mississippi. So again, northeast Mississippi. We're going to continue to pay attention to these and watch these. Again, a lot of this activity is drawing to the northeast. So for the most part, it is going to miss northwest Alabama. Still have that one tornado warning in effect for southern Middle Tennessee. Again, no active warnings across the Tennessee Valley. So definitely some good news there. But we do still have that one tornado warning in effect for southern Middle Tennessee. And as a matter of fact, it looks like that one tornado warning is rather displaced at this point. So maybe it's scheduled to expire here at 5:30. And it doesn't look like they've chosen to extend this tornado warning. It kind of looks like they've decided to transition this into a severe thunderstorm warning. So some good news there for our friends up in southern Middle Tennessee. Looks like they're just talking about a severe thunderstorm warning. Now they are talking about the tornado watch, and it looks like that tornado watch is going to be in effect until 10 o'clock this evening. So if you have any friends up in southern Middle Tennessee, certainly just stress the importance of paying attention as we head into the middle and later parts of the evening, as some of these storms could continue to blossom and become severe, even capable of producing a couple of isolated tornadoes. Again, we saw some incredibly nasty weather across the southeast over the last 24 hours. Some rather large tornadoes developed across the southeast over the last 24 hours. None of that activity was across northwest Alabama, thankfully, but we did get some stronger thunderstorms to move into northwest Alabama yesterday afternoon, and we even saw one rogue tornado warning issued for far northwest Alabama this evening. But again, a lot of this activity continuing to push its way to the northeast. It's going to continue to push its way to the northeast through the rest of the evening. So if we zoom things out and try and look a little more regional, again, this is a local radar based out of Columbus, Mississippi. So it's kind of hard to look at this truly regionally, but if we zoom things out, head up into southern Middle Tennessee, back into northeast Mississippi, you can see there's a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity, but all of this activity is sliding to the northeast. Just like we saw a couple of minutes ago, about a half hour ago, there is a chance that some of this might clip portions of northwest Alabama, but for the most part, it does look like we are going to remain quiet. Now, I say that, and I also want to bear in mind that we do have this thunderstorm down into Franklin County. Russellville, still talking about Russellville and Phil Campbell, and it kind of looks like this storm is moving to the north. So if you're in Littleville, Bear Creek, Tuscumbia, you might get a little bit of noise here later, but for the most part, we're just talking about some pockets of heavy rain, maybe a little bit of gusty wind thrown into the mix. We can throw the lightning counter on there once again and see if this storm is producing any lightning. And no, really, it doesn't even look like this storm is producing any lightning in Russellville, but still something we're going to pay attention to, especially over the next half hour or so. The storm beginning to move out of Hodges, continuing to move through Dempsey. It looks like we're sitting just to the east of Red Bay. But again, no severe thunderstorm warning here. So this storm remaining sub-severe, definitely some good news there. But something we'll continue to pay attention to over the next several minutes. In the meantime, I'll send it over to Kenesha Dees.
Thanks for staying with us throughout our weather coverage with Fox 54 Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. I'm Kenesha Dees. A DeKalb County man has been arrested and charged in the death of a little girl. 27-year-old Bradley Blanks is charged with 1 count of murder and 1 of manslaughter. Details are few on what happened, but court documents reveal that he exhibited, quote, extreme indifference to human life. He's currently held at the DeKalb County Jail on a $200,000 bond, and his arraignment is scheduled for May 15th. We've learned from Huntsville police today that a woman is now behind bars after they say she shot her boyfriend. It happened around 10:30 last night on Huntsville Street. Here's a map. When officers got there, they say they found the boyfriend in the front yard of a home with a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital for treatment and is expected to be okay. During the investigation, officers found the victim's girlfriend, 23-year-old Jasmine Hopkins, behind a neighbor's home. Police say that Hopkins shot her boyfriend through the door of the home and that the couple had been in an argument prior to the shooting. Hopkins was arrested and charged with first-degree domestic violence aggravated assault. It's been a little more than a week since the Florence area was the center of 2 shootings less than 24 hours apart. Investigations are ongoing in both of those cases, but there is some good news for Florence PD. Chief Holt with Florence Police says the officer involved in the first shooting had an injury to his shoulder and has since been released from the hospital. He's now recovering at home with a long road to recovery ahead. As for the latest on the shooting involving 2 teens, police say a lot of information still unknown.
There were some poor decisions made in that, and it resulted in some gun violence. Unfortunately, a young person lost their life, and that's always tragic. Anytime that happens, no matter how it happens. So we're trying to be sensitive to that as well. But with it being an ongoing investigation,
Chief Holt says Aaliyah has taken over the investigation for the first shooting and will release their findings when the process is completed. We've reached out to the Lauderdale County District Attorney for an update on the second shooting and are still awaiting a response. Multiple dogs are up for adoption after a backyard breeding bust in Athens, police say. The pups you see right here on your screen were rescued from what the Athens Police Department called squalor conditions. Larry and Rhonda Moore are charged with 38 counts of cruelty to animals after Athens police investigated the breeding operation. The rescued animals are currently housed at Limestone Veterinary Clinic, but vets there say it's an urgent need for the pups to have a home.
It has been a large burden. We have opened up a building that we were using for the clinic in order to take on being able to take all these at once. But we need to get animals moved. But we appreciate the community stepping up and helping us take care of this situation. And we got some great dogs that need some great homes.
If you wish to adopt one of these dogs, the adoption process starts next week. The Decatur Police Department is asking for help to find this missing woman. Her name is Amy Phillips. She's 40 years old and was last seen in Decatur on Tuesday, leaving the Clarion Point Motel on 6th Avenue. Her last known location was in Huntsville on Tuesday after she dropped off a rental car at the airport. Decatur police say that she was in Decatur from Texas, completing a work assignment that was scheduled to take several weeks. Anyone with any information is asked to report it to 256-341-4660. The Rocket City Trash Pandas are gearing up for a 5th season of baseball in Madison, but city and team officials are set to go into the new season with question marks surrounding the team's home turf, Toyota Field. It was a big topic during the offseason for the club. 3 options are still officially on the table. Option 1 would grant the team to renovate the stadium to comply with Major League Baseball regulations. Option 2 would bring those regulations and a 1-story VIP lounge to left field. But team officials are still holding on to hope Madison officials will sign off on the 3rd option, which would include a 4-story VIP lounge for fans.
Well, we're hoping that it's a 4-story. You know, it's an opportunity to, you know, this city, this area is growing. You know, Toyota Field needs to grow with it. You know, our hospitality areas are what sells out the most. You know, sometimes we don't sell out all of our, you know, field level seats, but for the most part, the hospitality areas are sold. And this, the new addition of the 4 stories would be mostly hospitality.
City officials say they don't see that option as the best way forward, with not enough support from City Council or Madison residents. We'll have more on these ongoing developments later tonight. 68 teams went dancing in the NCAA tournament, and now we are down to just 4. The road to a men's basketball national championship ends in San Antonio, Texas. And that's where we find Nick Kuzma, who, just like the Auburn Tigers, is at the Final Four for the 2nd time ever. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening, Kenesha. Good evening, North Alabama, and welcome to San Antonio, Texas. Like Kenesha just alluded to, for the 2nd season in a row, the FOX54 sports team is covering the Final Four, and this time it's the Auburn Tigers that are 2 wins away from a national championship. And as you might imagine, they're living pretty high. We're coming just yesterday. This is yesterday's video as the team was welcomed off the plane with a proverbial welcome mat of a mariachi band and traditional Mexican dance. And this all came 3 days after Auburn was celebrated like conquering heroes at Toomer's Corner, clinching just the 2nd Final Four berth in program history. It's been a whirlwind experience for the Tigers, and earlier this afternoon we had our first chance to talk with the guys since arriving in San Antonio.
It feels unreal kind of to be here, to be on the grandest stage of them all. You you look back at these times where I used to watch this game as a kid, and now it's like I'm finally here. So this is a dream come true for me.
The good thing is we didn't have to go to class. So that's an upside to traveling a lot. But, I mean, it's just a good thing. We've just been playing basketball on the road, playing the game we love at the highest moment of college basketball.
A lot of nice buildings, nice scenery. I went down the Riverwalk, you know what I'm saying, just to watch the canal, just to watch the little boats travel through. It was kind of nice down there, though.
So much more to get to even later in the show when Simon Williams will start to preview the Auburn Tigers matchup with the Florida Gators. Tip-off in the Final Four set for Saturday at 5:09 Central. Live inside the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas, I'm Nick Kuzma, FOX54 Sports.
Thank you, Nick. Well, you can catch more Final Four March Madness coverage on our streaming app, Fox 54 Plus. You can download it on your TV and watch for free.
this site was looked at as potentially for housing, for office space.
The demolition of the old Huntsville City Hall making room for more. Big Spring Park is about to get even bigger. Our Kim McCoy spoke with city officials to learn just how. President Trump's tariffs now in effect. Stock markets plummeting too. Details ahead on just how impactful these tariffs are globally. Stay with us. One day after President Trump announced a sweeping tariff plan, some world leaders are calling for negotiations while others are vowing retaliation. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has more.
Markets plunging at home and overseas after President Trump announced tariffs on dozens of countries. The White House is urging patience, saying its plan will boost U.S. production and benefit Americans.
I think it's going very well. It was an operation like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing.
But global leaders are less optimistic, and they're now scrambling to soften the blow to their economies.
Negotiations on an economic prosperity deal, one that strengthens our existing trading relationship, they continue.
A blanket 10% tariff is going into effect on Saturday, while a previously announced levy on auto imports went into effect overnight. Canada's Prime Minister says his country will copy that approach and impose a 25% tariff on all vehicles imported from the U.S.
The President's actions will reverberate here in Canada and across the world.
And on Capitol Hill, there's now a bipartisan effort to rein in President Trump's tariffs. Senators Chuck Grassley and Maria Cantwell have introduced a bill that would require the president to explain the reasoning and impacts of any new tariffs to Congress within 48 hours of going into effect.
We think Congress should reassert its role and have those policies come before Congress for review and approval.
The legislation also calls for new tariffs to expire after 60 days unless Congress explicitly approves them. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Stocks on Wall Street plunged today with the NASDAQ and S&P 500 falling deeper into correction territory. The Dow plunged more than 1,600 points. The NASDAQ tumbled 1,050 and the S&P 500 was down 274, its biggest one-day loss since 2020. Out with the old and with the new, the site for Huntsville's old City Hall will get added on to Big Spring Park. Kim McCoy explains what's in store. And Jordan, any threats for thunderstorms tonight?
Yeah, overall, as we head into the rest of the evening, the threat for any thunderstorm activity is going to be incredibly low across the Tennessee Valley. But there is a better opportunity for shower and thunderstorm activity in the forecast. We'll talk about it in a couple of minutes.
In my career. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Okay.
Check 1 2 3 4 5 6 9 12 13 14.
Don't know exactly what happened, but I'll just leave it like that.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36.
The historic old Huntsville City Hall is in the process of being demolished, making way for new opportunities in the heart of our downtown. Fox 54's Kim McCoy tells us how.
The old City Hall, as many may know it, is no more. The building, a symbol of our city's past, has served its purpose for decades, but now it's making room for the next chapter in Huntsville's growth. But that process is just beginning.
They've got the majority of the building down. We've had a couple of challenges, just minor challenges with some equipment. The one piece of the machinery is down right now. They're hoping to have parts in today to get that piece back going. But after they get that going, they'll take down what's remaining of the west elevator shaft that stands up on the site now. And then once they get that done, they'll just be hauling materials from the job site.
This is more than just a renovation. The city says it's a commitment to green spaces, accessibility, and creating a welcoming environment for everyone.
This site was looked at as potentially for housing, for office space, and our administration and leadership saw an opportunity to grow our green space because green space is so important to a city.
Complete with an art feature, one of the key features of this new development is its emphasis on accessibility.
If I'm parked on Church Street or if I'm down in the Big Spring Park by the large lagoon and I need to get to City Hall or downtown square or something, I've got to get in my car, I've got to drive up here, and I've got to find a new parking space. Well, this now opens up that connection that now they have the ability, and there are multiple ADA paths that will happen through here.
The expansion will also allow what was once two different spaces to become one, Chad Bostic says the connectivity in all aspects is a big part of this project.
We'll have a terrace that actually sits sort of on the footprint of City Hall that's going to be down in sort of the mid area of the park, of this new addition to the park, that really will be for a place to have lunch, have a busker out there playing music, have an event that overlooks, it also will overlook the older part of the park.
And for residents who are concerned about losing a good place to sled, you can breathe a sigh of relief, but also look forward to other uses of the space.
I've slid down it growing up. It's just a fun place, but that is staying in place in green space. And then what that actually is going to allow is the potential for basically a built-in grassed amphitheater for events like Panoply.
The city says, although they've been experiencing a few minor equipment disruptions, the project, as of now, is still on schedule. Here in Huntsville, Ken McCoy, Fox 54 News.
Thanks, Ken. That project is scheduled to be finished in June of next year. A big question on residents' mind throughout the process is what's going to happen to all that marble. Well, the city says while most are shards, they are working on a way to get a few pieces into the hands of those who would like a keepsake. Now, our Fox 54 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist has been tracking weather even before the show. We're going to toss things over to him to see where we are now.
Now, the Tennessee Valley's certified most accurate forecast from the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kanisha. Now, I spent a lot of time a little while ago talking about that boundary back off to our northwest. Here's that boundary, and look at this. This boundary kind of moves straight through Memphis, Tennessee, and it is so far off to the northwest that it keeps a lot of the widespread shower and thunderstorm activity also back off to the northwest. But just like we've seen this afternoon, just like we saw yesterday, there is a small chance that you end up getting a couple of rogue showers and thunderstorms to develop across the Tennessee Valley. And what we're looking at across the Tennessee Valley is an environment that is relatively unstable. So if anything ends up developing across the Tennessee Valley, there is a small chance for some stronger or more severe thunderstorms. We are talking about one thunderstorm here down into Colbert County, down into Franklin County. That's not severe, maybe just a little bit of thunder, maybe a little bit of lightning there, but for the most part, here we're just talking about a really big rainmaker, and then we are talking about quite a bit of activity back off to the northwest. But all of this activity is moving to the northeast, and for the most part is going to continue to move to the northeast over the next several hours, and then even as we head into the overnight. Today is the 51st anniversary of the 1974 tornado outbreak. Just wanted to give you a quick summary of that outbreak. There were 148 total tornadoes. 10 of those were in North Alabama. Now, this is before we changed the damage scale. So 30 of those were F4 or F5s. This is before we had the EF5 scale. 335 people died, and unfortunately 32 of those deaths occurred right here in North Alabama. Here's what Futurecast looks like as we head into your Friday afternoon. Very similar to what we saw today. A mix of sunshine and cloud cover folks west of the I-65 corridor, talking about a mostly cloudy or an overcast sky. Then we head into Friday afternoon and Friday evening. A couple of rogue isolated showers and thunderstorms might develop across the Tennessee Valley, but the vast majority of that activity, once again, is going to stay back off to the northwest. We're dry as we head into the overnight. We're going to be dry as we head into the earliest hours of your Saturday morning. So definitely a little bit of good news there. By the time we get to Saturday night, however, we're going to begin to see a little bit of change across the Tennessee Valley. We're going to be looking at an area of low pressure back off to the west and a cold front extending down from that area of low pressure. A lot of shower and thunderstorm activity associated with this system. Now, this cold front is in fact going to move through the Tennessee Valley, and it's going to bring the chance for some strong and severe thunderstorms to the Tennessee Valley. Right now, it looks like the biggest concern definitely going to be the threat for some gusty, damaging winds. Much of the area, specifically west of the I-65 corridor, talking about a slight risk for severe weather, something we're going to continue to pay attention to over the next couple of days. And then that rain's going to continue as we head into your Sunday afternoon. Small opportunities for rain Monday through Thursday of next week. Temperatures climbed into the mid-80s this afternoon. Incredibly warm today, proving to be an incredibly warm evening. We currently find ourselves sitting in the low 80s. We stay warm as we head into the overnight. I've got a low temperature right around 69 degrees. When the kids get on the school bus tomorrow morning, look at this. We're going to spend the morning in the 70s, 73 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. And from there, we're talking about another day where temperatures climb into the mid-80s, 80s again on Saturday, cooler on Sunday, and then look at this. Monday and Tuesday, we don't even make it out of the upper 50s on the backside of that cold front.
A familiar face from the Southwestern Athletic Conference has made his way to Huntsville to become the new head basketball coach of Alabama A&M. We'll meet the new top Bulldog next in sports. Yes, microphone check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. Dante Jackson, the new coach of Alabama A&M. Mic check. Dante Jackson. Okay, cool.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Great.
Fox 54 Sports is sponsored by Alpha Insurance.
The wait is over, and now Alabama A&M officially has a new men's head basketball coach. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mo Carter, live on the campus of Alabama A&M inside the Event Center, where about an hour ago, Dante Jackson was named the new head coach of the men's basketball team. Now, Jackson makes his way to Alabama A&M over from Grambling State, where he spent 8 years with the G-Men. Let's talk about that resume now. During the time that he was with the G-Men, the Tigers won the SWAC regular season title 3 times and the SWAC tourney title once in 2024. He also led the G-Men to a win over Montana State in the first 4 that same season. The city of Huntsville, along with the A&M Event Center, are just a few of the things that attracted Jackson to this job.
This is a beautiful place, and more importantly, I believe it's just the city of Huntsville also, because the support that the Event Center gives. You come here on a Saturday, you never know, it could be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Oh, man, Alabama State, 6,000. so you never know, man. It's just a beautiful atmosphere, great facility, unbelievable people that's working here. So it's a lot of things that make this special.
And we'll have more from Coach Jackson and his new boss, who's also his old boss, in Dr. Paul Bryant, coming up later in Sports at 9. Let's keep things basketball related. It's Final Four weekend, and we have so much coverage going on in the great state of Texas. Let's sing it out to our very own Simon Williams, who has more on the Auburn Tigers.
Auburn has arrived in San Antonio, and they are really soaking in the moment of making it this far. But they're not letting that take them away from any of the preparation. In fact, it really underscores it. They're enjoying this moment, but they're really doubling down on the preparation, knowing that they are playing what could be the biggest game of their lives. And plus, it's not too hard to forget about Florida. The Gators were without their second leading scorer, Elijah Martin, for that game, but it didn't hinder an offense that had 5 double-digit scores in what turned into a Gator win. Bruce Pearl said that game that Auburn was
It had to change pretty much. I mean, I felt like it was just more this us having to play better. So I feel like we're gonna have a great scout. We feel like we had a great scout last time. I feel like we're gonna have a great scout this time.
They're a good team, good offensively team. Got one of the best players in the country on their team. So it's gonna be a challenge for us playing against them. Obviously, we played against them in the past, so we studied that film, and hopefully that we can grow from there.
Johnson, strong stop.
All right, we'll have more coverage on that later tonight. In the meantime, we're less than 24 hours away from the first pitch of the Rocket City Trash Pandas 2025 season. But team and city officials have yet to figure out what they're going to do, if anything, to renovate Toyota Field. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman breaks down the latest developments in renovation talks. We're learning more about a shocking animal rescue in Athens. It's after a couple was charged with 38 counts of animal cruelty and neglect each. We'll hear more from the vet on the case at 9. Another federal agency on the job chopping block. This time, it's an agency meant to help families afford their energy bills. How it could impact those in need tonight at 9. Before we let you go, some good news out of Florence. Check this out. The Kilby Laboratory School's robotics teams have won big. They took home the first place prize in the Alabama robotics competition, beating out 52 other teams. That's a lot of teams. The team is now getting ready to head to Dallas, Texas to compete in the World's IQ Championship in May. The event brings teams together from around the globe. Last year, more than 480 teams from 70 countries competed in the tournament. If only I knew how to just operate robotics. Like, congrats to them. Wishing them the best.
No, always excited about youth that are vastly smarter than I will ever be. And you're right. I wish I just, let alone knew how to, I can't even fly a drone. So yeah, congrats to them.
Yes, well, I think we should keep tabs and see how far they go.
Yeah, 100%. Quick look at the radar for you. Still talking about some scattered showers and thunderstorms, specifically across northwest Alabama. Now, again, the threat for any sort of severe weather across northwest Alabama is going to remain incredibly low through the rest of the evening. A couple of rogue showers over the next couple of hours, yes, but the overall threat for severe weather is going to remain incredibly low. Everybody east of the I-65 corridor doesn't have a single thing to worry about. It's going to be a wonderful evening. And then if I could get my clicker, there's a quick look at the next 7 days, warm through Saturday in the mid-80s.
So we can breathe a sigh of relief for the rest of this evening.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tonight at 9.
All right, I'm coming. And now I'm ready. Yes, please.
Now, the Tennessee Valley's certified most accurate forecast from the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team.
Definitely a warm Friday morning across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. You head out the door for work, get the kids on the school bus this morning. Look at this. Temperatures sitting in the 70s. 71 right away at 7 o'clock this morning, 73 at 8, 74 by 9, 77 degrees by the time we get to 10 o'clock in the morning. Very similar to what we've seen over the last couple of mornings across the Tennessee Valley. We're going to get to enjoy a nice mix of sunshine and cloud cover. If you're west of the I-65 corridor, you're probably going to have more cloud cover than sunshine. East of the I-65 corridor, maybe more sunshine than cloud cover. Through the course of the afternoon, temperatures once again climb into the mid and upper 80s across the Tennessee Valley. I believe yesterday our friends over in the Shoals saw a high temperature of 87 degrees. That tied, came close to breaking, but just tied the old record. Now these numbers, of course, well above where we should be this time of year. The average high temperature in early April at around 71 or 72 degrees, and we're going to get back there. It's going to take a couple of days, but we're going to get back there. Here's Futurecast as we head into the lunch hour. Again, a mix of sunshine and cloud cover across the Tennessee Valley, though a mostly cloudy or an overcast sky definitely going to be noted west of the I-65 corridor. As we head into the later part of the afternoon, early into the evening, just like we've seen over the last couple of days, a couple of isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms might develop across the Tennessee Valley. There is an incredibly low chance that this activity is on the strong or severe end of the spectrum. For the most part, what we'd be talking about is just a couple of heavy rainmakers that are going to provide some inconvenience to your Friday afternoon and Friday evening for a very short period of time. But look at this. Heading into Friday evening, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, the vast majority of us are dry, and the vast majority of us are going to stay dry as we head into the overnight and then even as we head into the earliest hours of Saturday morning. And actually, as we head into the earliest hours of Saturday morning, here's Futurecast, literally the earliest hours, midnight on Saturday, we're actually talking about a mostly clear sky, which might be kind of nice across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. Now, we're going to begin to see some change as we head into Saturday night, early into Sunday morning. We're talking about a system back off to the west. Here's that stationary boundary, which is still going to be stationary even as we head into Saturday night. This is the same boundary we've been talking about for the last couple of days. It's the same boundary that's brought some rogue stronger thunderstorms to northwest Alabama, Lauderdale and Colbert County. Remember yesterday afternoon, we had that one tornado warning that was in effect for far northwestern Lauderdale County. This is the stationary boundary that brought that rogue tornado warning. Now, it is associated with an area of low pressure, and extending down from that area of low pressure is going to be a cold front. Now, this entire system is finally going to be on the move, and it looks like this whole thing is going to draw to the east-northeast, which is actually going to drag this cold front through the Tennessee Valley as we head into the earliest hours of your Sunday morning. Maybe the cold front doesn't even move through the Tennessee Valley until we get to the middle and later part of Sunday morning. Now, as that cold front moves through the Tennessee Valley, it is going to bring the chance for some strong and severe thunderstorms to the Tennessee Valley. But just like the last couple of chances for severe weather we've had across the Tennessee Valley, it looks like the greatest threat is going to exist west of the I-65 corridor and then up across southern and middle Tennessee. Giles and Lincoln counties up in southern and middle Tennessee talking about a slight risk for severe weather, and then much of North Alabama talking about a slight risk for severe weather. Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin County, Lawrence County, Limestone, Madison, and Morgan County, and then even as we head into Coleman County. Now, small portions of the area talking about the marginal risk for severe weather, Jackson and Marshall counties, portions of Madison County, a small portion of Morgan County, and a small portion of Coleman County. And then there is just a general threat for some thunderstorms back across far northeast Alabama, much of Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties. Now, I want you to understand that this is something that's evolving, something that's going to continue to evolve over the next couple of days, and we're going to continue to provide updates on that over the next couple of days as this threat for strong and severe thunderstorms continues to develop. Now, regardless of whether we end up seeing any severe weather or not across the Tennessee Valley, what we are going to end up getting a lot of is some heavy rain, especially Saturday night and then through a good chunk of the day on Sunday. As we head into the later part of Sunday afternoon, it looks like we could quiet down a little bit, but at least the first half of the day Sunday going to come with a lot of very heavy rain. And then other miscellaneous opportunities for rain in the forecast Monday through Thursday of next week. This evening, again, not going to be that bad across the Tennessee Valley. 82 at 7, still 82 degrees at 7 o'clock tonight. 80 degrees by 8, 78 degrees by the time we get to 9 o'clock. Another warm night across the area. Temperatures only dropping into the mid-60s. I've got a low temperature right around 67 degrees. Again, the average high temperature right around 71 or 72. So our low temperature is really close to the average high. We're going to be warm once again as we head into your Saturday. Again, temperatures climbing into the mid-80s across the Tennessee Valley. But this is going to be the last day where temperatures climb into the 80s across the Tennessee Valley because that cold front's going to move through and it's really going to begin to drop our temperatures off. Look what I've got for you. 70 degrees on Sunday. Now that's mostly thanks to the fact that it's going to rain in the morning and therefore we're not going to have much of an opportunity to warm up as we head into the afternoon. But then look what happens Monday and Tuesday of next week. I've got a high temperature of 58 on Monday, 58 on Tuesday. Looks like Tuesday morning we're starting the day in the upper 30s. So if you're not quite ready just yet for the summer heat across the Tennessee Valley, well, I'm bringing you some relief in the 7-day forecast. Temperature's going to be well below average, but maybe this is what you want. Now that is quite the drastic change to go from 85 and 84 Friday and Saturday to 58 degrees both Monday and Tuesday. We're back into the 60s, still below average Wednesday and Thursday of next week, 64 and 68 respectively. Yep.